Welcome to Creators Cafe. I'm your host, Jessica Payne. I'm a performer, performance coach, and multi-hyphenate creator. I'm going to be bringing you conversations with some of my favorite creators where we talk about the sublime and the specifics of the creative journey. So grab a drink, get cozy. Let's go. My guest, Clara Griffith, is a visual artist based in Austin, Texas. She is also my sister-in-law. Coming from classical training in music and art, she now works across mediums, from painting and photography to sculpture and textiles. Clara's signature triangle series is an original invention where she uses her decade as a software developer to build a program that kaleidoscopes pictures into an abstract triangular field. They're beautifully compelling and pair well with her large, colorful quilts she also sews. As a seamstress, Clara designs ready-to-wear clothes, formal wear, and costumes for photographic shoots. Some of her costumes, accessories, and body paint are featured in my brother Chris's book of his nude photography, Fine Art. From ceramics to dollhouses and photography to 3D printing, Clara is a force of creation who I'm proud to call family. Please enjoy my conversation with Clara Griffith. Clara Griffith, welcome to Creators Cafe. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
I would like everyone who's just listening to know that she is cheersing with a giant goblet. Can you hold that up? Because that is the kind of thing we're going to talk about today. Clara is a visual artist and is an artist in just every expression of everything she does. If you're also just listening, she is sitting in front of a giant, beautiful quilt. I'm also sitting in front of a giant, beautiful quilt that she made me. And she's surrounded by paintings and a colorful shirt that she made herself. I happen to know all of this because Clara is actually my sister-in-law. And I am delighted to know her, love her, have her part of my family, and also just to have a professional artist in the fam who I can bring on to my podcast, which is very exciting. So Clara, hello.
Hi, thanks. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, and I love and appreciate that you also listen to the show. So I talk to all kinds of artists, and some people who know me mostly as an actor, director, person working as a camera coach in Hollywood, think of just that side of things. But I really intend for this to be a podcast and conversations with people who inspire me as an artist and who I think are living a very creative life. And just the visual of your screen right here shows how creative you are, how you have to express yourself visually, creatively in every aspect of everything that you do. And you also feel that pull to do it professionally and find ways to create in the world and share that with people that you care about. So we're going to get into all the different sides of that. But I'd love to hear a little bit about where you see yourself as an artist right now. That's really hard because you do a lot of different things. But when you think about yourself, how do you think about yourself? Like if you had to introduce yourself to a stranger and you had like 2 minutes to talk about what it is you do, what are you excited about now? How do you think about yourself now?
I would introduce myself as an artist. When people ask what medium, I would say primarily painting. I'm a painter primarily, but I do, like you said, a lot of different things. I've been spending quite a bit of time recently in the ceramic studio up the street, and I do photography in my dark room. Like just last night, I was developing some film, and
you have a dark room also.
Yes.
It's pretty incredible.
I have a laundry room that gets dark.
Fair enough. I love it. Oh, what was the photography of?
I was developing some of the film that I shot while I was in Pittsburgh recently of the dinosaur bones in the Carnegie Museum, and they turned out so good. I'm very excited.
Oh, that's very cool. Nice. And I have already forgotten my job as host of Creators Cafe. I always ask what someone is drinking. And can I ask what's in your beautiful goblet?
I am drinking the blood of my enemies.
Oh, nice.
That's literally what it's called. It is a tea made by, I think it's called the Broken Leaf Tea Company. And I found them at the local Renaissance Festival, and this is their blend of tea called Blood of My Enemies, and it is actually delicious. It's like rose hip and hibiscus and orange, and it's delightful, but that's what it's called.
That's incredible. Did you make this goblet? Did you buy this goblet? What's the goblet story?
I made it. Um,
That's incredible.
well, so I'm learning ceramics. I've been doing it for 6 months, and there's so many different shapes and cool things to make. Goblets being one of them, and I made one goblet, and it was fun. I actually use that when I'm taking my pills in the morning. It makes it turns it into kind of a fun event rather than, did I remember to take my medicine today? No, I don't know. But like it's like a ceremony now, you know. It's exciting. So now I made more because they're cool.
That's so great. You have like a ritual. I drink the blood of my enemies and take the pills that keep me strong and live long.
Yes.
So what took you into the pottery route, the ceramics route? Why is that exciting recently? What took you on that little side quest from the main quests?
Well, I mean, it's a very tactile sort of art where you're using your hands. You're making objects that you can use. I mean, paintings, they're great. You look at them and they're gorgeous and they do serve a very important purpose. But it's a different feeling eating off of your art. You know, it's different. It's fun.
Absolutely. It's like the idea that chopping wood that you're going to use in a fire feels different than going to the gym. You know that both can be good, but there is like an ultimate purpose that you're serving, and that connection is very satisfying. Mm-hmm. You make a lot of your clothes and Chris's clothes, and what I find really incredible, I actually have a pretty big sewing background. I don't even know if we've talked about this. When I was in 9th grade, I did 4-H sewing, and I went to States, and I got to go to Penn State. Like,
oh wow,
nerdy little tiny 9th grader in a white pantsuit. I don't know why I thought that was what would be hip. And I'm there with like all of these beautiful, seniors who are graduating and made their beautiful prom dress or a suit to go to interviews in. And
oh, nice.
I'm there with like my white pantsuit. And so they like announce you going down the runway at Penn State, which I'm this tiny little nerdy girl from the farm. And they're like, and now Jessica Payne in her white linen vest culotte pantsuit. And I can't look it back without feeling very cringy, but also proud of myself that I made something that was worth me getting there. And I actually got to like spend some time working professionally in some costume shops for theaters.
Oh,
I've designed costumes. So that's something we haven't really talked about. But I love the idea of like the storytelling being elevated by costumes in my side of the world. And you do, with your fashion design and the clothes that you're making, you make clothes that you're literally wearing today. You make the clothes that when you came to LA to visit, you would walk around in LA and just like look stylish and fun and funky in your very original outfits. And I like that they're very iconic. Like I want you to talk about your shirt in just a second here. And you also have the like costume side of it for when you do photo shoots. And then you also like make Chris his shirts that he wears to work as a software engineer, and no one would have any idea. And it's more that's impressive to me, that you can work across kind of funky individual style, high like Renaissance fair costume, but also like for these photo shoots that you guys do, and also like business casual that no one would know was handmade, which is really all impressive to me. So first of all, I want you to tell me about the shirt that you're wearing. And then let's just like talk about you as a textile artist and how you think about that and play with that and use that in those different arenas.
Okay. Well, the shirt that I'm wearing, for those listening, it is a printed shirt with cool raccoons doing sports. And the raccoons doing sports happen to be the mascot for the 1980s Winter Olympics. So you got them, playing hockey and doing tobogganing and figure skating and skiing. And this fabric was a gift to me. It was in a trunk in a shed, and tragically, someone at work that I was working with at the time, his mother died and left him with a shed full of fabric and said, help yourself. So I picked a couple of trunks and said, thank you very much. And this happened to be in one of them. And it is the genuine, printed 1977 fabric from the Winter Olympics. And I was like, okay, this is the coolest fabric I'm ever going to own. And I held on to it for a bit, like, what am I going to make out of it? And after playing with the pattern piece, I had just enough to do a shirt. Although the collar, if you look very closely, I had to like applique the print on because it wasn't quite enough for the collar. But like everything else, I had enough. So it's very exciting.
Well, and I like that because then it has more of a contrast actually, because they're in tighter. So it works. And
the rest of your question was about like how do I feel about, say the rest of the part of the question again.
Sure. So how do you think about approaching textile arts and fashion design and the costume design that you do for the shoots that you do with Chris? And do you think about it like from, I'm going to design a wardrobe? Do you think about it from a need-based perspective? Hey, we've got this shoot coming up. Hey, I've got this cool fabric. Do you tend to be inspired by what's in front of you, or do you tend to fill a need, or do you tend to play in an area and get inspired by stuff, or is it a mix of all of them?
I would say it's definitely a mix. Because yes, there's the need based of, hey, I'm going to Vegas. I need a sequin dress. So I made one,
I like that that's a need, obviously.
I need a sequin dress. It's legit. It's it's a thing.
Where we hung out with Jacob, who was on this podcast earlier.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You guys have that crossover. He has seen your sequin dress.
He has. Then there's the want of you're scrolling Pinterest and okay, look at that cute shirt. Oh, it was made in the 1800s. Well, I want one, so I'm gonna make one.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Renaissance Fair. I've got a sword that needs a cool outfit that goes with it. So I mean, sure, I could buy one, but I'd rather make one. That seems so much funner.
I think that's the difference that makes me really see you as a creative and as an artist, is that it's not just, I couldn't have this or I can't afford this. It's, I want this. I'm inspired to make this, so I'm going to do it because that's more fun. That's really, I know people who will do things out of necessity, but as soon as they had the money or the means or somebody gifted it to them, like no way they would do this. And for me, I'm very drawn to that internal, like human need to create something and where people are pulled to do that and excited to do that. So I really enjoy seeing what you make and seeing how it expresses itself. Can you talk about, I haven't talked on here at all about Chris's work as a photographer. So my brother, your husband, is a fine artist as well, but he does nude photography as well as regular posed portrait
with clothes on
photography too. with clothes on. And so he does, wait, is that a different goblet?
Yeah.
That's a subtle flex right there. Had to call that out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is number 3. I always get made fun of for having multiple beverages, and so I eventually just decided to claim that space and make it part of everything that I do. So welcome to the cafe. But I have never, I am ashamed, I have never been out beveraged. Yes, I am vanquished, like the blood of your enemies.
Sorry to interrupt you about.
No, I have to say, Chris just got upstaged with nude photography by a triple goblet pull. So, eat it. So when he does this work, a lot of times you guys will do like a concept shoot. So it's around a Halloween, and so it's spooky, or it's once you did it at a ranch, and so you got a Hollywood expert who does pyrotechnics on his ranch.
Yes.
And you did nature shoots with explosions in the background. And obviously, when we're going for nude photography, costuming is not an issue, but it's actually much like the art of burlesque. It's a lot about the storytelling of what's covered, what isn't, what are the shapes that we're showing, what's the texture, what's the environment, what's the overall like aesthetic and vibe, and how does it look, how do they move in it. When you're doing the costuming and the visual design for things like that, what are you thinking about? What do you get excited about? And how do you work with Chris to kind of come up with those ideas as a collaboration? Or do you just tell him?
Mostly I'm thinking, oh God, I hope this fits. Oh God. But like it will start as an idea. Like, okay, for example, we did a moth photo shoot, which that I think was more my idea than Chris's, but there's a picturesque lamppost on the side of a road next to a park where it has trees, and we were driving by it at night, and it's like looking at the moths circling the light, and we were thinking like, oh, stuff with wings, like fairies. What about like night fairies? And then like what about a night fairy moth? And well, obviously we need a cool costume to go with that. So I was thinking, something light and diaphanous, like a fairy floating, but at the same time have that texture of moth. So I ended up with a cape that is made out of chiffon, but it had like the designs, the moth patterns were from like a fluffy yarn that I had sewn onto it, and the dress that went under it was also chiffon, and it had like some beading around the neck. Beading and chiffon, that was also, I'm thinking, why did I sign up for this? Oh my gosh, what am I doing? But I also did a head piece, a little antenna feathery thing, and it did the thing. When she spread out the cape behind her, it looked like a moth, and it was beautiful. So
yeah, it's a really cool intersection of costume design and art direction that you do, and then you also can incorporate all of the crafting that you do, and you also, along with your darkroom, you have a 3D printer and will often 3D print and design exactly what you imagine, which I just love because that's closer to the kind of magic step I would love to get to, of like, I think a thing and then I can just instantly make it. And I love that you're able to use your technical skills to think of the thing, design the thing, and then just physically print the thing or craft the thing with what you have. What's your favorite accessory that you've made for one of those shoots?
Mentioning the 3D printer, I did make. We were doing a photo shoot with a a male model, and we're doing like he's very fashionable and what's like a cool avant-garde accessory for a male model. And I was thinking like an armored sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So I made this sleeve that I 3D printed little scales, like they're geometrically kind of squarish, oblong, diamondy scales that I sewed onto it so it looked like armor and it would kind of glint off the light a little bit. That's kind of a fun one.
I remember seeing that one. It looked very cool. Yeah. What program do you use to design and then print with?
I design in Blender.
Okay.
It's a
Cool.
free program that has a bit of a learning curve, but there's lots of tutorials. And if you've got the patience, you can handle it, I'm sure.
Nice. Excellent. I've watched a lot of things I enjoy in Blender. I think that's a hole I would fall down for a very long time. And I have other things I'm focusing on, but it does look like a cool hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now I want to focus on your paintings. So you have been a visual artist as long as I known you, and you do like kind of realistic, beautiful paintings, just naturalistic or slightly stylized paintings that are hanging around your house, and I've seen and they're lovely. But much like Picasso, you kind of got good at this skill and then broke this skill into a very cool abstract style. And you are the visual artist that I know that has the strongest identifying style. I would love to get a little bit of background of how your triangle series started, what led you up to that, and what you're excited about with the triangle series. But before we start, I'm going to show people, if they can see it, my triangle. So Clara made me this, and it is a picture of my face, so you can kind of see my eye peeking out here. And if you could just talk about this particular painting first as like a reference of guiding people through what they're seeing and what you have done and think about with this.
Well, your painting is special because it's actually colored pencil instead of paint, but it is 4 pictures I just kind of stole off of your Instagram feed. But they're pictures that you took and that I think are very, very Jess, because it's the LA skyline with palm trees. There was another one like the eye of a hurricane in Louisiana, in New Orleans, I think, and like a sunset. And I think that those pictures are very much Jess. And so if you're going to make a portrait of Jess, you got to have all those aspects of Jess in there. So yeah, my triangle.
A little nature, a little beauty, and a little natural disaster.
A little bit. It's more you're the center of the natural disaster. You're the calm while the disaster rotates around.
Well, there was actually a really cool backstory with that. It was during the first year of COVID. Kyle and I drove to New Orleans and we hung out with his brother Bob and his mom Nancy, and we actually had an Airbnb just for the two of us. And Hurricane Zeta came and hit landfall while we were there, and it went directly over us, and to the point that we like transistors were exploding. There's like fire shooting all over, sparks shooting all over, trees are coming down, like terrifying, terrifying. But the eye of the storm passed over us. And so in the eye of the storm, it lasted about 15 minutes. And us and all of these neighbors who we had never met go out in the middle of this destruction. And it's a clear summer day. And we all just were like, it was so surreal. You know, before a storm, like nature gets quiet and you get that hush and that vacuum. And during the eye, like cats would come back out. We heard the birds singing. We saw squirrels. Like we all came out to kind of check on things and check on each other. And we actually like grabbed some shots of whiskey, and a whole group of us stood in the eye of the storm and we're like, hope we make it through. But right now, this is really powerful and cool. And so we all did shots of whiskey and then kind of stood and danced in the middle of the eye of the hurricane and then went back inside and then hoped we would make it out, which we obviously did. But it was really powerful and cool and amazing and terrifying and all the things. So I really I love that you picked that as part of this for me, because that was very special.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you like it.
I do. So how when you find things that, especially for this one, it was very personal. You know me. I took the pictures or had the pictures up of me. And so obviously I've already curated that I like them, but you, out of the hundreds of pictures I have, found these that had something special and unifying and pulled them together. What does that look like? How do you get that inspiration? And then what technically do you do? Because I think this is the thing that like sets you apart from anybody else I know, because it's so cool.
Well, the inspiration, it could be color, it could be theme, it could be texture. I've done paintings where it's like one of my favorites is the card games, where it's 3 different paintings by old masters. They're painting the same scene of people playing cards. So I just kind of mashed them all together into this giant card game where there's 40 people playing at a single deck of cards. There's paintings I did where like I'm feeling pink, let's just do pink today, and I did a couple faces and a background and fluffy pink clouds. I've done like my most recent one, I wanted more of a portrait of the model Misha that we were working with previously. And, she's drop dead gorgeous. And we were doing like some lighting at dusk, and it was kind of like highlighting her bone structure beautifully. And so I was like going through my collection of pictures and was like, okay, these ones also have the same kind of lighting. And I try and experiment, and then oh, whoa, the flower in this one kind of like continues that angle of her face, and then like the reeds here continue her hair. And so it's experimentation. It's sometimes it's quick, sometimes I think about it for a while and kind of puzzle it out. The technical side of it is I have a computer program that I wrote. I did spend 10 years as a software developer. The computer program takes my pictures that I give it, and it can chop them up into the triangles, and then I can pick and choose what picture goes where. So it kind of helps me puzzle it out a little bit, and then I can save the result as my reference for when I put it onto a canvas.
Which is incredible, because I think a lot of artists get really frustrated by the concept of a day job. Don't we all? Anytime we're not doing the thing that's the most exciting, it's frustrating. But I love that you had this whole parallel career where you trained as a classical musician who then also did classical art. And so here you are playing the flute, going to Italy and learning how to paint from the masters. And then reality of today, you say, okay, cool, I'm also going to earn some money with the computer side of things. But you were able to directly take that and put it into your work. And, I try to find those links for people and help them to see how like the one thing is making the other thing better. But I love that you have a direct correlation of, I'm good at software, I'm going to make myself a program that makes my art distinctive and cool. And can you please introduce your kitty for everybody?
This is Simon. He's on his rightful place on my desk because he can't sleep anywhere else. But yeah, that's my
center of attention. Nice. I love it. Um, so in this art, basically you would have just taken the 4 pictures, fed them into the program. It tells you where the pieces could go, and then you can print it out, adjust it, draw it, or paint it, whatever you do.
Mhm.
And you're combining the technology and the physical tactile artistry for a very cool and original piece.
Yeah, I was definitely looking for ways to do this, well, to combine my skills, like you were saying. It was on purpose. I wanted to figure out how to make cooler paintings, and I have this skill as a software developer. It started. I was making paintings of panoramas, of bad panoramas. Like, you used to have in the olden days, when the first panorama pictures came out, it was like really choppy and horrible. And so like you would have, a dog that was walking through it. So he'd be, 20 feet long
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or yeah. And so it's like, I wanted to get back to the bad panoramas. And so I made a computer program that would take a video and turn it into a bad panorama. And I painted those for a bit, and it's like, okay, this is great, but they're very long paintings and they're hard to display, and it's a little bit boring. Let's do something else. And at the same time, I was playing with taking videos and turning them into kaleidoscope videos because I enjoy kaleidoscopes. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
And so there's it's a cheap kaleidoscope that it's got a lens at the end, so whatever you're pointing it at is the picture that it kind of tessellates and turns into the abstract thing. So I was like, what if I did that with a video? And it was really cool, and I enjoyed that. But it's a video; you can't paint a video. So I took the same code that made the triangles, and I started playing with it and experimenting and see what else it would do. So
That's
how I
very
got
cool.
there.
Coming from the theater background, I think you also have a potential for creating a program that does like concert backgrounds, because that kaleidoscope video effect also could be very effective if it's like, if you had something where somebody could put in band videos or like 3 pictures or whatever it is, and like, as opposed to a Photoshop kind of slideshow or just like Windows background kind of screensaver vibe, it has this kaleidoscope background. So I could see even the video coming back and having its own application. That could be cool.
That could be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Something I'm really interested in is how you have a very distinctive style, but then whenever you do a special project for someone, you have a knack of finding elements that feel like them, but it still feels like you. It feels like a Venn diagram of like, for example, my art here like feels very much like Clara, but it also feels very much like Jessica. And even if I like just visually hold it up, and I hold up the mug that I happen to have, like, we're living in the same world, very obviously. And that's coming from me. But this, plus the quilt here, plus the quilt behind you, plus the shirt that you're wearing, like, there's colors that are kind of bold, saturated, in the middle, lots of triangles, lots of angles, and lots of very complementary colors. So across from each other on the color wheel, but not in a jarring way, in a color blocky way. Are those things that you are always drawn to, or do you tend to go through phases? Or what do you think visually and aesthetically are the things that you find yourself coming back to?
I do enjoy very bright, energetic colors and patterns, for sure. Like when I'm doing paintings, I tend to try to limit myself to just like 4 or 5 tubes of paint. paint
Oh,
colors,
okay.
and I'll blend them, and you can get all the shades and values you need. But I'm I'm trying to limit my palette that way, and that has the effect of being very bright and crisp. I, I I wouldn't say I'm always bright though. I mean, there are definitely plenty of times I'm like, okay, I've every kind of shade of blue and gray. That's gonna be gorgeous today. Or um, I don't know. I definitely probably have phases as well of something more flowery and natural versus geometric and harsh.
Hmm.
Harsh is not quite the right word, but
Yeah.
pointy.
I mean, angles are harsh compared to like organic shapes. That's interesting because you do have the like, you are a gardener and you have a beautiful outside landscape that you've done yourself and taken care of. So that organic element is definitely there. But then you're also a computer engineer, and so you've got that way to like shift into the linear thinking that is more the angles. And then you're also a quilter, and quilting is very much putting small things together that are angular and building pieces, which, I mean, your paintings, your works, your triangle series is basically like visual quilting, just with
In
this
a way, yeah.
overlay of it's three or four things pieced together. So I don't know. I like finding those similarities and kind of noticing what is a trend over time for you. Because that's, especially from like finding our style as an artist visually or just as a person, how we want to present ourselves in the world or what feels good. There's like what are colors or shapes or styles that you're drawn to, but also like what are the choices that you tend to make over time. And I think there's some kind of confidence that you get once you've built up enough of like a stack of choices that you're like, oh, I do have like a core that makes sense, right? You were able to go to my Instagram and say, this feels very Jess. And that makes sense to me, right? And like I could have guessed some of the colors or shapes or things that were in there just because over time, if you think about these things, these patterns emerge. And what I like about that is when I identify those patterns, I'm able to choose, do I want more of this or do I want to try, if I'm like feeling stuck, maybe I should wear red as opposed to just be surrounded by blue all the time. Or, if I'm feeling like out of sorts, I can kind of come back to like, oh no, I need to surround myself with things that feel very me, and that'll make me feel good. So I like this idea of like, what are you drawn to? What colors? What shapes? What choices? What projects? And then when are you doing like a pure expression of that? And when are you, you know, for a photo shoot, making it about the moth or making it about whatever this is? So there's no clear question there. I just like thinking about that concept,
Yeah.
and I wonder if there's anything that comes up for you.
I enjoy puzzles, like jigsaw puzzles.
Mm. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of
So in a way, my paintings feel like jigsaw puzzles of,
definitely.
you've got all these different elements and you can kind of track and see where things go and how they interweave. Another thing I like about my paintings is they break the rule of you have a single focal point, that's everything else should be blurry except for that single focal point. I break that rule. I want every square inch of my painting to be fun to look at.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like kind of the same reason why I like, dollhouses. And you're looking at in a small space, you have so many cool details. There is a lot of crossover, like you're saying, of all these conscious or subconscious decisions. They all kind of will show up in your art, for sure.
And we didn't talk about the dollhouses yet, but you also are a dollhouse artist and have a giant dollhouse in the same room that you're in. That's it's like, I don't know, just giant. It's like the size of a dog house, like a Snoopy house. Like it's
Yeah.
very large. So they're cool and beautiful, and I wouldn't have put the dollhouse or the puzzle and the quilts in the same world as your triangle pieces, but it does totally make sense when you see it. So maybe that'll be a fun thing to explore for whatever the next round is.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, real quilters don't look. It's not good. It's lumpy. I know. It's fine.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah. And I grew up, we in 4-H we also did quilting, so I have also made quilts, and so I respect the amount of work that goes into them, and that you were able to make it like feel like a unified artistic design, not just a blanket.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when you look back and you think of like, okay, I was playing the flute, I was studying art, I wound up doing the computer side of things, then I got into the painting, then I got into the triangle painting, the quilting, the clothes, the dollhouse, the porcelain, ceramic work. What are the things that unify that theme for you? What do you notice when you look back at those things? What pulls you through or interests you or excites you? What are the kind of common threads in those for you?
Uh, hmm. I like working with my hands, and
Mm.
like there's a part of, when you're listening to music, it's lovely, but when you're playing music, you're more part of it. It's more tactile, I guess. Like same with, clay, you're manipulating it directly. Um, uh, what, what combines computer with that? I don't know.
Well, I
But
mean,
there's
you're
the
very literally doing
logical.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose there's the thinking about things logically and the problem solving is also probably a big connecting factor through everything. I'm finding like with pottery, which is a craft that's been around for 4,000 years. It's a lot of problems that have been solved by your ancestors, and you're
Mm.
just figuring out how to use the tools they've given us. And I do enjoy the problem solving aspect of that, of like, okay, your clay is cracking. How do you fix it? Or this shape is getting wonky. How do you make it go back in? And the problem solving aspect of that is wonderful. The how do you make the colors work together in a painting, or picking and choosing how the composition is going to work out with my triangle paintings. The okay, well, if I have this picture here and this picture here, then, well, both the faces are overlapping kind of funny. Do I want to keep that? Do I want to like crop it so they're more separate? Things like that, where you're thinking through the composition of things. Oh
Yeah,
man, I don't
we
know.
were talking with the fashion side of things earlier too, when you were doing the kind of the art direction with the costumes, the idea of the like, I heard things from uh the kind of painting world of like the lines, the counterpoint, the contrast, the value. You're taking those same concepts and applying it to this girl's a moth, you know? And then like taking like the concept of the text. I love the story of like seeing moths in a street light and being inspired by that, because most of us would just be annoyed by that. Like gross. And
Hmm.
instead you see it as a beautiful thing that sets off a cascade of possibility, and that's really inspiring to me. And then you take the idea of like classical art training and everything you know from fashion and everything that you know from your design, and you're able to weave it together into a very unified project. And I think that's really cool and inspiring to me. And as someone who has a ton of ideas, who loves my ideas and loves getting started on things, I'm not, if it's important to me and I really focus and bring it home, I can get any project done. But I find you are someone who's very good at like having an idea, seeing the end of the idea, and just completing things. And I'm just like astounded by your body of work, just how many things you've made that like exist, are in the world, and function. And, like, that's incredible to me. Just that you're just like finishing things, checklist of projects. It's incredible. I think that's really impressive. Do you have any secrets to finishing projects? Are you working on one thing at a time? Are you working at multiple things? Do
There's
deadlines?
no way. There's no way I can work on one thing at a time.
Okay.
There's a lot going on usually. I do tend to work on one painting at a time.
Okay.
More than one painting at a time, I feel like I'll lose track of the direction I was going, or the colors I was using. I'll forget, or it feels unfaithful to work on more than one painting at a time.
You're a monogamous painter, like one at a time, one at a time.
Yes. I know there's definitely artists out there who swear there's no way to do one painting at a time. They'll never get anything done. It's a complete opposite. That's probably just as valid.
Yeah.
But I have lots of projects going at the same time too. Like, the dollhouse is a continual work in progress. It's not going to be finished even when it is finished, because then you got to redo it.
Kind of like a real house.
Right. Yeah. The woodworking projects, they stay in the garage, but I don't work on them in the summer because it's way hot in there.
I don't think I said, but you're calling in from Austin. So you've got beautiful country where you are in the hills outside of Austin. But when it is summer, that is a real factor.
Yes. But that does mean that the rest of the year, it's really wonderful in my garage. It's a beautiful temperature. I don't freeze in there too bad. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky that way. But the secret to getting lots of things done, do things that are exciting to you, I guess.
I love that.
I'm at my metal casting class this summer.
Yep.
Yep. The professor, I was explaining to him the project I wanted to do. I wanted to make a bell, a mechanical, concierge bing bell. And I'm explaining to him all the parts that I would need to cast, and he just kind of looks at me and looks at my projects. You don't go for the easy things, do you?
Less exciting for sure.
And the other ladies at the pottery studio, wow, Claire, you're so adventurous. So yeah, I guess I go for things that seem exciting to me, and like even if they're hard or complicated, I want to get them done. I want the end product. So that excitement, I guess, is what carries me through to finish a thing.
Do you have a certain, like, I don't know, like, can you tell in your body, you're like, oh, this lights me up, this makes me smile, I'm just drawn to this and I don't know why? What is that, like, excitement feel like for you for an artistic project?
I can't stop thinking about it. I can't, like, it's hard to fall asleep at night because I'm like,
talked about that as well. That idea of like
that it lasts and kind of lives and it keeps popping back up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That idea that keeps coming back. Okay, cool. You also now have shared your art in lots of ways. You're starting to do commissions. You're starting to show your art in galleries and in local businesses. What has that process been like, and where do you want that to go ideally?
Oh, that process has been hard, and
Mm-hmm.
I would like it to get easier.
Fair, fair.
So like I have my paintings hanging in a local beauty salon. I go there once a month to get my wax, and the owner there is a lovely person, and we chat about my art, and she's like so supportive and excited. And I showed her my paintings. She's like, "You have to hang them here." And so yeah, her beauty salon is covered in my artwork. It's very cool in there. It has a good vibe because it's my artwork, and it's also very fun for me to visit my paintings once a month.
Yeah, that's great. You have like a private studio there.
Yeah, and the like I've been in a couple of gallery shows. That process is more you're applying, and they select you. Uh, that that can be frustrating, for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't hear back, and you forget you even applied there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we want your paintings actually." And it's like, "Oh well, I'm glad I applied then." But
Yeah.
lots of rejection letters, lots of I just wondering what to do next, and hoping, and just trying. Like you think, what would a professional artist do, and then you try to copy that.
Yeah. I heard somebody recently say it's not about fake it till you make it. It's about be it till you see it actually
Yes.
showing up in the results. And that feels a lot better to me. I like that concept. And I think that you're from the outside view, you're already making art all day, every day. She drinks from goblet. Uh, you're surrounded by it. You're already doing it. You're exhibiting. You're having people buy your work. Your work is in homes across the country. And it's like powerful and meaningful. Like you're already doing it. Now it's just where does that fit the market is a different conversation and story and how does that work, but I think you're already doing all the steps that make you actually a successful artist from the artistic side for sure.
Yes, there's a definite marketing and showing up as a person side that I need to be better at. Like I need to be going to way more openings and doing the socialization thing, and that's hard for me, for sure. I'd rather
Well,
be
and
at
I
home
think
painting, but
I was just going to say I think that the personality markers that make you great at staying in and focusing and getting things finished are probably making the networking side and the getting out and talking to strangers side more challenging. So that makes sense.
yeah, it's like, okay, I could go to this opening, but man, there's gonna be people there.
It's so peoply out here. Yeah. Yeah.
There's gonna be no parking. Oh, it's gonna be like a line out the door. You have to like smile and make small talk. Oh, if it's a
Yeah.
Saturday, I could just be at home watching a movie, or
Yep.
working on a project. It's
Yep.
yeah, it's the thing I got to work on.
That's all right. We all have something. I do think a cool thing that you're doing that I think is a cool personality fit too is you have a Twitch channel where you work on your art and people will just sign in and have you in the background while they're like living their lives, doing the dishes, working on their own projects, or they'll just like sit and meditate and watch you. And I've done it a couple of times, and it's because of the time difference, I'm usually like still in my workday, so I can't do it very often. But it is, it's like very peaceful. It's like the opposite of TikTok mentality. It's like kind of puts you in this necessary meditative place, and then you'll like answer questions about your art or talk about what you're doing, but you're mostly just doing it. And I think that's such a unique, interesting experience that I love that you're doing it, and I think it's so cool, and I understand that that's not going to be for everybody to watch, so I look forward to you finding the ways to take pieces of that and putting it into, what do I mean? I think more like finding the ways to show your process as your way to share things with the world, as opposed to having to go to just all the networking things. I think that's going to be the trick for you personally, is the like sharing your art and process and talking about it and finding those ways. But I do love what you're doing already and how you're doing it. What's that experience been like with Twitch?
Oh, I definitely do Twitch wrong. I don't do the loud, lots of flashy lights and animation things, and I'm not doing exciting video games. I'm not doing like even that. There's a lot of art on Twitch that is digital. You know, it's really fast paced, or they're doing, you know, pop characters and Pokemon and whatever. I'm just working on my thing. I've got the lo-fi girl on because, you know, it's good music, and she generously will allow people to use it for streaming. So yeah, it's peaceful. It's a nice habit for me to like, even there's plenty of days where it's like I have nothing to draw. I can't think of anything. I just don't want to. I'm not in the art mood at all. But then I've got Twitch to do today, so we're gonna do something. And I always am grateful I do, because it's just a peaceful way to sit down and focus. And it's like, oh yeah, I actually do like doing art, and it was a good thing to do today.
That's so interesting, because the external accountability is hard for us when we're generating things that don't have a deadline. So I think that's a really smart way. You saying like, I have this commitment, I'm going to show up on Twitch this time every week. And even if you don't have a plan, something is going to happen. And it's almost like the art is filling the vacuum there.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. So what is your creator's challenge?
Okay, so my creator's challenge it's a pretty classic one for visual artists, at least, where you're copying a master. And I'm not saying you need to go out to a museum and sit down with an easel and sit down and paint for hours. I've got coffee table books of Van Gogh and Sargent and Picasso. I'm sure you do too. Or there's the internet. The internet exists. Use that. But find a painting you like and copy it. But if you're not a painter, there's other things you could do to copy your masters. Like if you're a singer, you sing a song in their style with their same vibrato and breathing and so on. If you're an actor, I suppose you could, you know, copy a monologue with the same emphasis. And the idea is to learn from the masters. And, you know, every time I copy a painting, I'm like, I didn't realize that I could make brushstrokes like this and it would look like shadows. You're sitting there and you're observing a thing for an hour. You're going to learn something new. But it's also a fun way of no pressure to be original whatsoever. I feel like there's a big stigma of, oh, everything you make has to be 100% original. Otherwise it's worthless. It's like, no.
We're all derivative. It's fine.
There's nothing original. So let's not even pretend for a second and just copy. Not saying you need to go start selling forged Monet paintings, but like taking the moment to practice by copying someone else is very valuable in my opinion. So
yeah, absolutely. Nice. I love it. When we were in grad school, we did Mimic the Masters in a physical comedy class. And so I did Charlie Chaplin as mine, and it was really good because he was silent. And so it was really helpful for me to get the specificity of like the stillness that he had, because I'm not a very still person and I resent being still when I don't need to be. But it was great to see somebody who used stillness as a power of like, it's still because I'm going to do this one thing, and it's going to be a blank canvas for that one thing is going to have the high contrast. So that's just from that one exercise one time, something I could pull into everything I do after that. So I love that. Mimic the masters.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had a magic wand and you could wave it over your creative career and poof, it looks like exactly what you wanted it to, what would it look like?
Like this, but my paintings sell and they sell for much more money.
I
I'm already doing it, really.
I
paint.
Gonna say, I think you're really there, and like we just want to add a couple of zeros.
Yeah, yeah. I am like I'm listening to your podcast, and you ask people this question. I think about it like, what would I change? What kind of cool projects would I work on? And it's like I'm doing the cool projects I want to work on. I mean, I could think bigger and maybe do more expensive, large scale projects. Maybe I'll get into welding and do outdoor sculpture one day. I don't know. But if I really wanted to, I could do it. So maybe I don't really want to. I'm doing the projects I want to right now.
Yeah, that's really inspiring to me, is that I like the idea of like positioning yourself where you want to be so that then you could just like turn the gas up or step on the gas or put a rocket ship or whatever. The idea is like you're already pointed in the direction you want to be pointed in. You're already doing the thing. You're just going to add some zeros to the amount of money coming in, or maybe the size or whatever it is, or the amount of things that you're doing. But you're already there and you're already doing it, which is why you're here, because you inspire me.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being on Creators Cafe, Clara and Simon. Cheers!
Cheers. Thank you.
Yay! Join the community and share your creative challenges on Instagram and Facebook at Creators Cafe by Kika Labs. And also check out my website, kikalabs.com, KIKALABS.com, to sign up for the mailing list so you always know when a new podcast is released, and to check out my coaching and digital courses to help you be a more confident and joyful creator.